Have you ever heard the story about the king who lost his mind and became like an animal? No?
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Even as a boy, everyone could see there was something special about Nebudiga. He had this fire in his eyes, a hunger for power, for greatness. From the moment he could wield the sword, he led battles and he was good at it. Victory followed him like a shadow. Soon enough, he became a living legend on the battlefield. But Nebuchadnezzar wasn't just about destruction. He was smarter than that. After laying cities to waste, he made sure to capture the best and brightest minds from each conquered kingdom. These weren't just prisoners, no. They were assets, carefully chosen to help Nebuchadnezzar build his kingdom, the kingdom of Eko. Among those captured was a young man named Chukwudi. Now, Chukwudi wasn't just another prisoner of war. It was different, special even. With a mind as sharp as a blade and a connection to a god unlike any other worshipped in the kingdom. The king was also a deeply spiritual man in his own way. He believed in many gods and kept a host of magicians, enchanters, sorcerers, and fortune tellers at his beck and call. He trusted that these gods would secure his reign, guide his sword, and protect his throne. But of all the spiritual leaders, it was Chukwudi who stood out. It wasn't because Chukwudi was the loudest or the most impressive. It was because time and time again his God proved to be supreme. So the king made him his top spiritual seer, believing that Chukwudi's God could help him rule over his growing empire. Now let me paint you a picture of the kingdom of Iko. Imagine a city so grand that its walls were thick enough to hold horse races on top of them. These walls were not just barriers, they were symbols of strength, towering high and carved with tales of the kingdom's might. And the gates? They soared to the heavens, forged with intricately engraved metalwork and adorned with shimmering gold and radiant rubies, rare and precious stones that caught the light and dazzled all who looked at them. People came from far and wide just to behold it. Under King Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Eko wasn't just the kingdom, it was a spectacle of power and beauty. And with each new conquest and grand construction, his fame spread, feeding his growing ego. No one thought to caution King Nebuchadnezzar about his growing pride. I mean, why would they? This was the man who had brought glory to their land, who had made them untouchable. If he was proud, it was well deserved. They encouraged it by worshipping him as they would their gods. One night, something happened. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. No, not just a dream. A nightmare. It was as vivid as the sun at moon. In this dream, he saw a great tree, its leaves lush and its branches sprawling wide, reaching up to the heavens. But suddenly, a voice from the skies, from the heavens, commanded that the tree be cut down, leaving nothing but a stump in the ground. As the tree fell, so did everything under its shades. Animals, birds, and everything scattered. King Nebuchadnezzar woke up in a cold sweat. The dream shook him. But in the morning, surrounded by the luxury of his palace, it began to fade away like mist in the sun. It's just a dream, he told himself. And so he moved on. After all, it was King Nebuchadnezzar, a conqueror of nations and builder of empires. What could a dream possibly do to him? But the dream haunted him. Eventually, he called for Chukwudi. The young seer listened carefully, his face growing serious as Nebuchadnezzar recounted every detail. When the king finished, Chukwudi's expression was grave. "My king," he said, "this dream is a warning, a message from the Most High God. You are the great tree, and if you don't change your ways, you will be cut down." Nebuchadnezzar nodded, but honestly, it didn't sink in. A year passed, and with each passing day, the memory of the dream faded away. Nebuchadnezzar continued his conquests, built grander palaces, ordered more tributes, and demanded even greater worship from his people. It was the man of the hour, the king of kings. Who could stand against him? Then, one fateful day, he stood on the balcony of his latest project, a magnificent palace, the crown jewel of his empire. As he looked out over the city, his heart swelled with pride. Look at this, my kingdom, he said out loud. Is this not the great kingdom of Eko I have built by my mighty power? No sooner had the words left his lips than he heard a voice, clear as day, but not from anyone near him. It was a voice from above, and it was filled with authority. Nebudiga, your kingdom has been taken from you. You will be driven away from people and will live with the wild animals. You will eat grass like the cattle until you acknowledge that the Most High God is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth. In an instant, everything changed. Nebudiga's mind shattered like glass. He lost all sense of who he was, of what he had built. He was no longer the mighty king, but a creature of the wild. His body twisted and contorted, becoming something neither man nor beast. A monstrous hybrid, driven by primal instincts. His kingdom, the one he had built with his own hands, slipped through his fingers as he was chased out of his palace, out of his city, and into the wild. For 7 years, Nebuchadnezzar lived like this, a wild man beast. His hair grew long and matted, his nails twisted into claws. He roamed the fields, grazing like a beast, drenched in the dew of the morning and shivering in the cold of the night. The once mighty king, who had commanded armies, who had built a kingdom that the world envied, was now nothing more than a wandering shadow of his former self. But as the dream had foretold, 7 years later something shifted. One day as he was wandering aimlessly, his eyes caught sight of the sky. In that moment, clarity returned. His mind, so long lost, snapped back into place, and he realized what had happened. He fell to his knees and for the first time in years spoke, "The Most High God," he whispered, "you are sovereign. Your kingdom endures forever." As he acknowledged the true ruler of all, his form began to change again, but this time back into a man. He returned to his kingdom, but he was not the same man. The people were shocked to see their king alive, but more than that, they saw the change in him. He was humble, wiser, and more just. He ruled with fairness and compassion, always remembering the lesson he had learned in the wilderness. The kingdom of Eko flourished once more, but this time, Nebuchadnezzar gave credit where it was due, to the Most High. The story of Nebuchadnezzar is a powerful reminder that no matter how grand our achievements or how high our status is, we must remain humble and acknowledge God's power and grace in our lives and in our achievements. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. Please like, subscribe, and share so others can be blessed too. I love you.